There we go. So we're now recording. Welcome, Sianna. Yay! We did it. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. This is LoveYounity, and I'm Beverley Goodwin, your host. And this is my beautiful guest, Sianna. Is that how you pronounce it?
It's Sianna.
Sianna Avalyn.
Yeah, Avalyn.
Is that
yes.
correct? Avalyn, that's correct.
Sianna
Avalyn. And Sianna, you have like a bio that's like, and you could probably write more, right? Of all the things you've experienced and what you are and do. I know that one thing I would really like to talk to you about is the new book that you've published.
Yes.
If I understand correctly, there's some articles in there and there's also some poetry, is that right?
Well, there's a couple prose pieces that are written very poetically, so it's not articles, but the rest of it is poetry.
Okay. Yeah. What was this book? How did this come through? Did it just come through you? Was it channeled through you?
Well, I've written poetry since I was a teenager, but when it was 2016 and all this Hieros Gamos energy, the divine unity energy was moving through me for a very intense period of about 4 to 5 weeks, and I would just sit down on the edge of my bed and these poems were just pouring out of me.
Wow.
And writing them mostly to the divine beloved, which is in everyone. And also some were written with a specific man in mind, but still with, because I was
we go
at the time, but we never connected other than on line. But I would just be sitting there as the waves of energy would go through, and sometimes I'd have to lay back on my bed and just as the intensity through, and then sit back up and type again.
Wow.
So I was typing till 2, 3 in the morning oftentimes, and it just was pouring through.
Oh, that's amazing. And I mean, I do get channeled messages like that, and I do write a little bit of poetry. It started to come through, and it's really difficult to describe the feeling of that. It's like you feel it. It's an idea, but it's not an idea from the mind. Right. It's like a message that comes, like an intuition, like, oh, and then you just start writing. This is what happens for me. Is that how it happens for you too?
Yeah, I mean, if I tried to just sit down and write it from my mind, it would never happen.
No.
It's literally like this. I would say the muse moves through me, and then I have to write.
Yeah.
I can't write when she's not there.
No, I totally get that. I can, but I can totally see the difference in the energy and what I'm writing. And when I look back at the different things just that I've posted on Facebook, I can see and feel straight away the ones that have just flowed through the channeling or whatever you want to call it, and the ones that I've sat down and thought, oh, I want to write about this today.
Right.
They're totally different, right? Yeah. And we're moving out of that now more and more of us are just being inspired to just flow with it, right? Flow with the energy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I do have a couple poems if you wanted me to read anything.
Yes, please. I'd love to. Yes, I love your poetry. It's so beautiful. And it's also quite sexy, quite juicy, some of it. Yeah. It's like, I like this.
Well, when you get with that energy and it's moving through your whole body and your whole being, you are being made love to by the divine. And it is sexy. It is erotic.
And we need that too. It's a part of who we are. And I think a lot of us have shut that down for such a long time. I know I have. With the past that I've had with abuse and all different things that have gone on, I've shut that totally down and wasn't open to feeling even that within myself. So that's like something totally new, and your poetry actually triggers that, which I find fascinating and amazing. Because if you can write a poem, I mean, really, this is brilliant. If you can write a poem that can open someone up so much that they can feel the energy of that and receive it and start healing that part of themselves. That is powerful, Sienna.
Mm-hmm.
That is really powerful. And you do that in your poetry. For me anyway,
Oh,
I can only talk for myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
other
do.
people told me about that when they've read my
Yeah.
poem. They've had a
Yeah.
healing
Yeah.
and they opened up in some different way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's powerful.
Do you want me to
Yeah.
read one right now?
Oh, yes, please, would you?
Okay.
I'd love you to. I'm getting all hot and flustered.
All right. The first one is called Evaporating Castles.
Mm.
I wandered around for years, pursuing the story of more, expecting happiness to save me from a famished and fearsome fate. Seeking refuge in false and pretentious beliefs, my restless mind sought after evaporating castles in the air. I was at once awakened, for in a sudden flash I knew the kingdom existed in me, and I, queen of all I surveyed. Now I tend my temple garden covered in delicate flowers, and the majestic landscape before me shimmers with an ethereal mist. By decree, I open the petals of my heart as my king charges on his steed to honor our rapturous union and bring me the triumph of love. My king's penetrating kiss commands that heaven-sent nobility be delivered to my luminous altar where I lay with open arms, glowing with an alluring shimmer and trembling with echoes of delight. A bliss-filled vision thus reveals, I am boundless, infinite love.
Oh, my goodness, that is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
That is absolutely gorgeous. And that just opened, oh, I can see that something's going on. I'm sorry, something's going on. Oh, I don't know how to fix it. We'll just carry on. Well, I'm recording this, so if it's gone off live, we're still here.
It says that it's on live, so.
Yeah, it just says with me that there's a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll carry on. We're not going to be distracted by that. That was just so, oh my goodness. That is so opening. So opening. And you know, it's not just the words, is it? And I know energy, words have energy, but there's so much more behind that.
Well, when you're channeling that Hieros Gamos energy, there's codes being activated. So these codes have been embedded, you know, that I was experiencing are embedded into the poetry directly.
Yeah, of course. It's like with the light language, when we channel that, and just the sounds, and you know, especially I think especially singing for me, that's more coded for me. That this is my own. I mean, I'm new at light language. I know you've been doing it for a long time, but for me, when I sing it, because the tones are so varied and they seem to go lighter, higher, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's more coded, more powerful than when I just speak it.
Right.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does, yes.
Yeah. So there's so many different ways now where more and more people are opening up to receiving all these light codes, and we're being activated left, right, and center 24/7, especially now, right? I mean, I feel it constantly. Constantly. Yeah, how is it for you right now?
Well, it's interesting because this is my 4th interview I've done live, and right before each interview, some huge thing comes up to clear, and I'm like the day before, the night before, I'm like, I can't do the interview. There's no way I can go on. I'm not ready, and somehow, you know, either with help of a friend or someone else or my own self, I blast through it. And like last night, it was midnight actually, and all this energy was moving through my body, and my body just started shaking like this. And and as soon as it was done, I'm like, okay, I can do the interview now.
Oh my goodness. I'm so with you. Today has been like a nightmare for me. I've been like, oh my God, can I really do this live? This is my first live ever where I'm actually, you know, interviewing. I've been on a few lives myself, just talking or doing a healing or something. And that was nerve-wracking enough. And now I was feeling this massive energy. Haven't slept last night. I was feeling this massive ball of energy today, and had to get my head around the technology of this, and having you on as my first guest. And I'm like, no, this is just, I'm just being tested. I will go through this. This will be fine. And here we are. Yeah.
You're doing
Oh yeah, it's so funny that that happens. Like life just throws these curveballs at you in, you know, these situations where you really want to be calm and collected and together, and it's like, no, we're going to test you.
Well, I think too, once we're stepping out like this, you know, I can speak for myself, you know, speaking out in such a bigger way. So whatever I'm clearing through is a massive clearing for the collective.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Victoria Bassett, told me that I'm a gatekeeper, or yeah, I think that was the term she used. And so, you know, I do these clearings on such a huge scale. I know it's not just mine. Like last night, it happened to be around PTSD, which I've had since I was a child because of trauma and abuse. And so when it moved through, I was like, you know, my whole body, and it was interesting because it was just more the right side of the body this time. Normally it's the whole body, but this time it was the right side that was just, the energy was going through. And then I got really cold, which is a sign for me that it's a huge shift, because I don't run cold. So that's always kind of my barometer.
Oh, and it's opposite for me. I get really electrified and I get really hot. And it's like fire all the way through my body. That's when something, I know something's going on. So we're even different like that, right?
I mean, when activation for somebody, I get really hot. Whew.
Yeah.
I have to start taking off layers of clothing sometimes because I get so overheated.
And now I'm feeling your energy, and I could have just come on here with just a little top on, and I did actually change from a thick sweater to a thin one, because I know that when I start interacting with people, the energy just goes and it's happening now. I can feel it. Well, I love it. This is an amazing way to connect with people, and I love doing these shows. I mean, it's new for me, but I just feel so, it just feels so right. I just love sharing people, and I love talking to people and connecting on that, you know, a deeper level than we do when we just chat on Messenger or you know, comment on posts. It's different having this face-to-face conversation, and sharing beautiful souls like yourself, you know, out there like Shanine does. And I've always thought that was a brilliant idea. And we're like creating our own TV show online, like all of us, you know. There's a few of us now that are coming out, new ones that are coming out as well, that are creating these shows. And, you know, we're totally inspired by Todd Medina and Shanine, of course. But I love the idea that we're all coming together and saying, okay, that's something I could do. That could be a role I could play. That could be my service to talk to people in this way. And, you know, if you love communicating with people, then it comes naturally to talk, and you know, so it's
not like other shows where I've seen where it really feels like a hard interview. This is just like between friends, and I love it.
Yeah, it has to be casual, you know what I mean? And it's raw and real. I mean, some of the topics that come up in some of these, you know, in these conversations, they're helping people. Because you know, there's the coding and the healing that's coming through just through the transmission of us connecting with each other, but also, you know, the topics that we end up touching on, that people can relate and say, oh my goodness, I've been through that, I felt that helped me have another perspective, or that helped me not feel alone. And this is why I want to create this, because I think it's important. There's a lot of people out there that need some guidance and some reassurance.
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this show right now if it wasn't for the fact that I was watching so many of Todd's, you know, videos that he had done with guests, and it kept inspiring me and to start coming out, stop hiding, because I was really hiding and afraid to share my light on a bigger scale because I'd been attacked for it so many times. And then finally one day I was just like, that's it. I'm going to do it. I can do it. And I just started hearing more on Facebook, and I still struggle with making the live videos from, like if I'm doing it for myself here in the house, not where I'm being interviewed. And I had to take a break over the holidays because there was just so much energy was moving through me and clearing and out old stuff to bring in 2020. But now I feel like I'm ready to start doing that again, even though it scares me.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, but I saw your first interview with Todd. That was the first time I was introduced to you. And the energy that you have now, and we're going back 2 months, that's all.
Yeah, I know.
And the energy is so different. I meet you now as this really calm, not that you were nervous, yes, you probably were, but it wasn't because like you watched it and you could sense that you were really nervous, but you know what I mean? The energy, there's so much more calm, confident, relaxed, energy around you. It's as if you've been doing this forever.
Oh, I was that day before I did that first show. I mean, I got sick in my stomach, and I thought I was, not going to be able to go on.
That's what nerves does to you. Yeah, and since that show, you also talked about, I remember you talked about, you were actually just finishing your ebook, weren't you, when you talked to him on the first show?
Yeah.
Then on the second show, you'd finished it.
Yes.
And you posted it on Facebook. Actually, where can people actually download? Because it's only $7, isn't it?
No, a friend said that I needed to change the price, so it's $11.
Okay. Well, $11. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, there's a link right on my timeline.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
My first book too is there.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Because if you want to get this book, because I'm telling you, it's the energies, just the energies alone within the writing and within the codes of that, it will shift something for you. I can put my hand on my heart and almost guarantee that. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's magical, it really is. You wrote another book, I understand. Have you wrote 2 books?
Yeah, the first book is called When Love Whispers in Your Ear, Discovering Your Inner Radiance. And it's more in a prose style, but it's definitely poetic in nature. And that actually took me a long time to write. I started writing it actually in 1996.
Wow.
And I would say 2/3 of the book was written in 2 weeks' time. And then I had to live out some of what I wrote, and then I couldn't write the other parts of it until I had lived them out. Like it had the experience myself.
Yeah.
So in actuality, I didn't write in it for 10 years. And then all of a sudden one day I went, oh, that's right. I wrote a book. I should go back and look at that.
Yeah.
And then I would add some more. And then eventually it finally got finished.
Yeah. Wow. And is that also like a download ebook, or is it a physical book?
No, right now it's still a download ebook.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they're through. What?
No, sorry. Go on.
No, they're both on my timeline, and they're through a company called PayHip, so it's really easy download. And I couldn't figure out Amazon's program, so I haven't gone through Amazon yet.
Okay. I was going to actually ask you about that because I'm in the middle of writing an ebook myself, and I was going to put it on Amazon, and then I saw that yours was in on a different platform, so I made a note of that because I thought, okay, that may be easier.
Yeah, it's a company actually out of England, but it's accessible to everyone around the world.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I'm just not very technical, and I haven't been able to figure out it yet.
No, me neither. We're learning. We're getting better.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, this is beautiful, Sianna. Would you like to share a little bit about your journey, or do you feel that you've told that so many times that maybe you could share something that you haven't shared before?
I'm trying to think what I've shared now.
No, I don't want to put you into pressure or anything.
I mean, I've touched on different things.
Yeah.
Throughout my life, I've experienced a lot of trauma and abuse, and so like I said earlier, I've had PTSD, and for a while there, I got really close to taking my life, but I knew I came here to do something, so I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. So it's basically having to pull myself out of the depths of hell and move on. And sometimes, I still get triggered by those things, and there's still some physical response that happens with the PTSD. But from where I was 3 years ago, oh my God, it's like night and day. Yeah. And so very grateful to the friends that I've had, the close friends, and just to my own self for the perseverance to pull myself out of that dark place. And I don't know that I need to go into all the dirty details of the abuse, the trauma. It just happened.
Yeah. I mean, we're so many that have been through it, right? And I think the most important thing is the focusing on healing it, and healing it also for the collective. So we're healing it. What I'm feeling right now is I've healed for myself, for my own journey, and been cutting cords for the ancestral lineage. And then after that, this is what it feels like. I'm not sure if it's true, but then it feels like after that, it's going to be really helping release it for the collective, because we're clearing. Yeah, maybe you can help me put this into words. I'm not very good at explaining this sort of thing, but it's like we're clearing like centuries after century going back.
Oh yeah.
So when we get to 0 point of that, and if we all each do our work around that, then we're gonna clear. It's as though it won't exist, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, we're clearing through all ancestral lineage and all the abuses that have happened on this planet and in individuals throughout all our lifetimes. So we can move on and not have to have that in our DNA anymore. I mean, really, that's what we're doing, is we're clearing it out of our DNA one little episode at a time, and eventually the strands of DNA are going to be reconnected, and so all that stuff will be just in the past.
So going forward, it'll be like it's never existed.
Right.
It'll be like starting from a totally different standing point. Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I couldn't get that into words.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm a feeler, so I feel a lot, and I sense the energy and everything, but sometimes it's so difficult for me to formulate it into words. I think we talked about this in a post once where I wrote about this, saying that light language, where we both agreed that light language was so much easier to communicate with.
Yes.
There's just nobody, not that many I can communicate with. But it feels easier, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, like, it feels like it's my native language, and English is my extra language I had to learn just to be able to communicate with people.
But you've also been speaking light language for many years, right? Wasn't it in 80 something? Was it
1993? So it's been almost 27 years I've been.
Wow.
And believe there was no one back there doing that. I didn't know it was something could even be done. So when I got the guidance to stand up and do what I did, I was like, holy cow, what is this?
I can imagine. And did you know at the time that, I know I've heard you talk about it before, that you didn't know that it was light language? Well, that's just the name that we've called it, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But did you feel that it was code that was coming through?
Only in the fact that I saw codes. And I mean, there was one time, I guess I haven't talked about this, It was at the end of that year, and there was one night that I was working with two men that were part of the New Warriors group. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's all over the world. I don't know if it's still happening, but these men basically held me in this energetic space so I could clear through some father wounds. And it was such an amazing experience to be held in that space by two men that were on the path for a long time and were really more in their divine masculine.
Yeah,
and that night I went to bed and I ended up having like a fever, like as if I had the flu.
yeah.
I knew I didn't have the flu. I knew I was clearing something, and it lasted the whole night. And during the night, I had this vision of, I mean, thousands and thousands of codes were flashing before my eyes in symbols. And it ended with me seeing an eagle fly across my vision. And when I woke up in the morning, the fever broke. I mean, I soaked the bed though, because the fever was so intense.
Wow.
And my boyfriend at the time said, God, you made the bed all wet. I said, it's because of the work you guys helped me do last night. And so I say that there was definite codes, and I saw them. And I didn't know didn't know it at the time, the depth of what was happening, because I was still so new at this. And it wasn't like people were talking about codes being downloaded or anything like that. I mean, and of course, Facebook didn't exist back then. I don't even know if the internet existed back then. And it was just, I don't know. I think that that's when I had that massive, my first really massive download. I've had other ones since, and they've never been quite as big as that. There was another one that happened in 2017 where I woke up speaking light language, and I flew to the window because I needed to look outside, and my arms and hands were moving a mile a minute faster than I could normally move them. And there was this immense amount of joy just flying out of me. And I was laughing as the symbols were flying through my hands, and new words that I had never spoken before were coming through. And so that's the words that come through me now, that it wasn't like that before that. It was maybe there was a very like a more limited light language coming through until that time. And so, yeah, a lot of times I'll be speaking it in the middle of the night in my dreams.
Yeah, you know, oh my goodness, it's taken me some time getting used to this, because I don't know if I'll ever be able to control it. I think I can a little bit, because when I set the intention to do, I do these energy journeys where I do light language activations, or I'm starting to do them. And then I can it's like I call it forward and it comes through. But it came through for me September last year, Sianna, so this is how new it is, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and what happened was I woke up one morning and I just started speaking, and it was really loud. And my kid's like, Mum, what's going on? And he was like in the bed. It's like, what's going on? What are you talking? Are you awake? Are you still dreaming? And I couldn't stop it. I couldn't even stop it to answer him. So he was getting quite scared, because he was like, what's going on with my mum? And I'm like, so I went downstairs and I thought, okay, I'll make myself a cup of coffee and it just kept coming. And then it came through a song. But I didn't have any, I didn't have the codes like I do now, but it was like this. It was like, and and I was burning up. I was really, really hot. But there was this blissful euphoria.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Oh my goodness, it's love. It is pure. This is the only thing that I could actually relate to in my brain was, this is divine love.
It is, yes.
Yeah, that was the only thing I could think of at that time when it was happening. This is divine love. And that's how it started. And then a couple of days later, I went to the supermarket and it started again in the middle of the supermarket. So I had to go outside, and because I couldn't control it. It just blurted out of me. Oh my goodness. So I reached out to someone online and asked them, is this light language? And they were like, yeah, it is. I'm like, oh, okay. I can relax now. I'm not going crazy.
If
Oh.
I had been at the grocery store with you, I would just come over and started chatting.
Yeah, well, that would be totally beautiful, but I don't think there's anybody here in this little village I'm living in Denmark that they're not very spiritual over here. Oh, I don't think they would understand or come and talk to me. They'd probably run.
Uh-huh.
And that's another thing, isn't it? This isolation that we all go through. I've been so isolated all my life on this journey. And I know you have talked about this before too. And, you know, I just feel so blessed and so joyful over the last year that I've connected with so many beautiful people, beautiful sisters, beautiful brothers. Everyone's showing up so that we can meet each other. And we're like calling in our tribe, in our community. I've never been so happy. And I don't care that I don't have anybody around here. I have one person that I can, you know, actually physically meet that understands me. All my friends are online. But wow, it's changed my world, I tell you, Sian.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it has changed my world. Also for you.
I'm sorry?
Has it also for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, where I live right now, I'm still kind of isolated. I have a handful of friends around here, but mostly it's the connections online. I mean, when I lived in Santa Fe, there was so many more people that were more open-minded to all of this energy. But back then, when I was first there, I didn't know what I was doing still. I didn't know it was light language. You know, I tell people it's just pure love because that's what I felt.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a term for it. And do we really need a term for it? No, but it helps, I guess, in the communication online to say, oh, this is language.
Yeah. For now, we still need the words, don't we, to communicate? Yeah.
Maybe someday everybody will speak in light language and then we don't have to explain more.
Yes. And then maybe I had this vision that I had this vision, and I don't know if I understood it, but it would seem to me like light language or some form of code language, light language, would be the next language, and it would be universal, it would be worldwide. It wouldn't be like you speak English and German and French, and it would be one universal language, maybe with different dialects, because I hear also that a lot of the light language is different. Like the way you speak light language is different to the way I speak light language, and so on. But then I was feeling that it would be more telepathic language.
Oh, I think, eventually we that way.
Yeah. And just think how beautiful that would be. Just being able to communicate and not having to find words to express yourself. And the more we open our hearts, I'm thinking the more we'll be able to read each other's energy and understand each other, because we're all becoming more and more transparent, more sovereign. So we're all going to be pure of heart. This is my dream, right? We're all going to be pure of heart and just be touching each other with our love.
I agree.
So there's no need for all that interference, noise.
I know, because that's what it sounds like a lot of times. It sounds like noise.
Yeah.
But when I'm speaking or singing in light language, I don't know, I just go into bliss.
Yeah, it is blissful. It is blissful. Would you honor us with some of yours today?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for the post that you actually just posted with the fairies, with the fae. That was really soft and beautiful and blissful. I really resonate with the fairies. I used to play with them when I was a child in the woods. Yeah.
There's several different energies that can come through me. It could be the fairies or the elves or this like more grandmother energy, like Native American and very ancient. So I just move with whatever comes in that moment.
Yeah. Should we try it now? Do you feel like trying it now? Okay.
Yeah. Everyone just take a deep breath. say kunaya unaya su aya kinyalaya aya sinyalaya kunaya seyaku tiale ayale anunaki ayale au aseyale aku kunasei ayale aku anyale amu kasini toi kavani toi zanaya oniki saneti tai na shovi sikialanika kuvani atazi kinai ataze kuvale na tekizato ivatika zina shoya koi na tekizani koi tai kaluma vasina atoika na chikazika kinate anyale avu kanyale aku asenitoiva uta nakala avuni sitikalinate azeni alavuna sekitate ojitazi kaluma vate kizanatai olenita kitazusha nikala anusanita katuzashita akinate izana akiani atoya.
Oh. Oh, that touched me very deeply. Oh, that feels a lot like Native American to me.
Sometimes, yeah, it is.
Yeah, that. Oh gosh, that felt really deep and in my roots somehow. That really resonated with that. Thank you so much. Oh, that was beautiful. You have a power. Oh my goodness, you have a power. Your voice. Whoa. Did you used to sing before? Are you a singer?
You want to know how I started singing? When I was raised on a dairy farm, and when I was a little girl, I used to go out and sing for the cows because the cows love music and they milk better when you sing. And so they were my first audience. They would just sit there captivated by me singing to them. But I was so shy that it was really hard for me to sing for people, like painfully shy. And, I couldn't even do drama or anything like that in school. I was just like, oh God, no. So if I was, I was always in the chorus. I was never standing out front. No. And when I first did my first stage performance, I was, I think, in 9th or 10th grade, and it was in front of 800 of my peers. So, other high school students. And I stood up and I froze and I was like,
I so get that.
Then when I was 19, I started taking voice lessons, and my coach was, she was a former opera singer, and she wanted me to go into opera. And I wouldn't have any of that because I didn't want to do opera. I wanted to go out to California and be a famous pop singer, or go to New York City and be on Broadway. Yeah. And then I ended up getting married real young, and she said, that's going to be the death of your career. And well, yeah, it was. And then I let it go eventually. I had some heartbreak over not doing it. And so it was in 93 when all of a sudden I started singing and speaking light language. I'm like, oh my God. And I realized God had other plans for me, that my voice wasn't supposed to be made, used in that way. And I was so happy that I could sing again and share, and then it just got, more expansive over the years and more expansive. And it has shifted so much in just a month. I mean, there's new words coming through. There's new codes coming through and new sounds that I've never done before. And some of those I think have just come through even just since last week. And so, just, get ready, because you're still new at it. And changing and growing over the years, and you'll be surprised what happens.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into singing.
Wow. And it's so powerful. It's so beautiful. And I want to ask you also, if you don't mind, just speaking a little bit more about light language, because it fascinates me. When you say you see the codes, is it like in your mind's eye you see the codes? Or how do you see them?
Well, that night that I was having that intense vision, I literally saw codes flashing before my eyes.
Okay.
And, being downloaded into me. But otherwise, I see it more as energetic patterns. I mean, when I close my eyes, I see energy moving all the time. Yeah. I've always seen that.
Yeah.
And sometimes even with my eyes open, it depends on how high I am with love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I see energy too. Yeah, it's like waves. Yeah, different. Yeah, and different colors and different formations, but it's soft. It's not like sharp, like a drawing or anything. It's soft. Yeah, it's like like you say, waves. Yeah, that's how I see it too. It's just because I see some beautiful. There are people out there on Facebook that do these amazing drawings. Denise,
I know.
Denise, she does these amazing drawings. And I was asking her, I had a chat with her a couple of weeks ago, and I was asking her about it. And they just come through so clear for her. And, she just draws them. And I'm like, wow. I would love to be able to do that. That would be amazing. But I don't see them like that. Not yet, anyway. It might come. You never know. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, sometimes I've been able to dance light language. And
what does that look like?
It's almost like you're telling a story with your body and your hands and your voice. And because when it was first coming through, that happened one night with the group that I was involved with. And it was a very powerful story, whatever I was telling them, because I was crying through the whole thing. And I think it was maybe even Gaia speaking through me at that time.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it's more like sometimes when I'm working with somebody, my body will just start going like that as the energy is moving through. And because usually I'm sitting with someone when I'm working with them.
Yeah.
And or I can't show you on screen, but it's like my hips will start be moving like this. That's more when the Hieros Gamos is moving through the light language. It's just like this rotation and almost more very tantric in nature of the energy that's moving through. And then it starts, going up the spine and everything.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, I would love to see that at some stage. Oh, when you're not shy about it, do a video on it. I'm challenging you now.
Oh God.
We're stepping up, we're stepping out. So I think the next challenge, Sianna, is a light language dance live on Facebook. I'll be the first one there. I'll cheer you on, I promise, sister. I'll cheer you on all the way. That could be amazing.
I don't know if it's going to happen yet, but it might not happen until I'm out of this house where I'm at.
No, you let me know. I'll be there. I promise you. No matter what time of day it is, I'll be there.
Okay. I've been wanting to do more videos outside, but it's been so cold here that my camera freezes up, so I can't do them. So I just have to, if I do anything, it has to be on my 3-season porch with all the sun.
Yeah, but that is beautiful space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I love going in nature and doing lives. That's where I started my first live, and that's where it feels most natural for me to be out in nature doing them. But it's always raining in Denmark, so I do them on my phone, and my phone gets soaked. That's no, can't do that.
They need to make little umbrellas for phones, right?
Yeah. That would be good. Yeah, a little clip on. Oh, this is a beautiful conversation. Oh, I'm getting hot now. That light language really got something going in me.
I've been doing it for so long that I'm so embodied in it that it doesn't affect me the way it affects everyone else, because I'm just the walking and talking version of it.
Yes, you are. I feel that. Also, just when I connect with you, on Facebook, I feel it straight away. Oh, Sianna's here. You just have this energy.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Do you have anything you would like to share with us? Anything that you've thought, oh, I'd love that. I'd love to talk about that. Or is there anything you're doing that any work or projects?
I'm getting ready to thrust myself out of this safe little space I created. I've had this guidance that I'm leaving sometime around the end of March, beginning of April, and I think my first stop is going to be Glastonbury, and I think I'm going to be living out of suitcases for a while, and that it's a little scary and daunting because I have no regular income, and it's just donations or whatever. Because I was guided to let go of work quite a long time ago, and scary as that was. And in fact, I was guided to do it, and I didn't listen, and then it was forced because my boss died, and there was no work anymore.
Okay, well, that shift happens.
Yeah. No other work came to me, and it took me a long time to understand, like, okay, you're really supposed to be without a job, and I'm like, how am I going to survive? And all those fears that I've been, dancing with for so long, and because that was, oh gosh, 11 years ago now.
Wow.
Living this way, just on the edge.
Wow. It's been a year for me. I quit my job last January.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
and well, I actually was told to leave because I just couldn't put up with it anymore. So my truth started really coming out verbally at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting to stand in my power and take my power back and tell my truth, say, no, I don't agree with you. No, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing that. That doesn't resonate with me. And my language changed, how I spoke to people and how I spoke to myself, and they didn't like it. I wasn't this pleaser anymore. I was like putting forward demands to be there, and they didn't like it at all. And they never told me or anything. They really were. They went like really behind the scenes and concocted all this story, which I could just see straight through. And I never said anything. I just said, because I knew this was meant to be. I was okay with it. And so that was that. So January I left. And I've been like living off of nothing since a year.
Yeah.
And I've been told also that I need to move to Glastonbury. This is why I'm going, yay!
Cool.
Yeah. And I have a child that lives with me that's 13, so he's a school child.
Mm-hmm.
But when I told him that I'm being called to go back to England because this is where I come from, he's like, fine by me. I said, I think I'm going to take you out of school and see how we can, what else we can do instead. He's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely coming. So I don't know what we're going to do. I think we'll also be living out of a suitcase for a while. Maybe we'll find a caravan or some lodgings or something. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do over there. Some sort of energy work. I don't know what. Yeah.
Well, when I got my marching orders, and I it was 2006, I heard, you're going to retire in 2 years. And I was like, oh, great. I'm going to have lots of money in the bank. I'm $20,000 in debt, and my boss died. And I was like, what am I supposed to do now? And then eventually I had the call to come back to Wisconsin, and I fought that at first, but it's like, okay, I'll do it. And I ended up having to take care of my mom for a long time before she went into a nursing home. And so that was my last assignment that just ended this past year, because she moved into nursing home. But now I'm open to, okay, where next? What do you want me to do?
Yeah, exactly. And you never know, but you get used to. I'm starting to get used. I'm not 100% used to it, but I'm starting to lean into that surrender and just, you know what comes my way, I take it gracefully, say yes. I've committed to soul journey. I surrender. Guide me. I'm yours. And then some of me's like, really? No, that can't be right. It's like this. Every now and then there's like, no, I don't think that's right. So it's it's not 100%, but more and more leaning into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, after a certain point, you kind of have no choice.
Yeah.
Well, did we ever really? I mean,
no, I don't think so.
It's always going to win, right?
Yeah.
Our higher self is always going to win. We can fight against it as long as we want, but then we put ourselves into hell. But once you wake up past a certain point, if you fight it, it hurts. It physically, it emotionally hurts. And
it does.
So let's lean into it more and more and more. And then we help others to lean into it and know that, hey, we don't have to play this old game anymore.
No, exactly. And it takes away all that worry of, when you take the how out of the equation, the how am I going to do this? You don't. I'm figuring. I've come to that awareness within myself that I don't need to know how. That I'll be guided. So and I've realized that actually takes a lot of pressure off a lot of things, because you don't have to work it out. You just have to listen, which is also, of course, a process to learn how to really listen and open up and keep opening up and keep surrendering and keep being vulnerable. And then also taking the action, which is the next stage, isn't it? Without worry, but just having trust and faith in it. But once you do that, it gets easier. And it really does. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah, like I've been designing jewelry and these sun catchers I have all over my porch for years, and for a while I was selling them at arts and crafts shows. And then a couple of years ago, it was like, don't do that anymore. I'm like, but I have all this inventory. It's like no guidance to do it on Etsy or anything. And last year I was guided to give a bunch of them away. And what I did is I made up this little fairy poem, and I left them at different places around town and with this little note, and I never knew who received them.
Oh, that's beautiful. You're an angel.
I had so much joy doing it that I was like, okay, I didn't make any money on that. I lost money on that, but it didn't matter because I had so much joy doing it.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. You're an angel.
Oh, thank you.
You are. I'm just going to see if we're on Facebook and if there's any comments to you, my dear. I'm sure there is.
It does say we're live on Facebook.
Yes,
so.
we're on.
Okay.
And I'm hearing the back. All right, I'm hearing back. You can hear. I'll just turn it down so I don't hear twice. Okay. Joy Love is here. She's saying, love hearing about these divine masculines. Robin Nicole's here. I love these conversations. I just started doing this too. Yeah, I've heard about that, Nicole. We're going to be there. Robin, we're going to be there for you too. Oh, yes, she said that it was like this with the first show with Shadeen, and now she's enjoying talking on these platforms. Oh, and Maria's saying, Beverley, you're doing great, love. She's a beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Maria. And we have a lady called Yulina Vaga. Do you know her? I don't know. That says, hello, ladies. And Ion Oldie's on saying thank you. So we've had quite a few on.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So that's nice. Oh, do you have anything you want to say before we close, sweetie?
No, unless you want to hear one more poem. I don't.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Okay. All right, this one is called Come As You Are. I ached 1,000 years for your hand upon my cheek. I sought you in temples around this vast and lonely world. One day I heard an ancient whisper in the secret chambers of my heart. Your raw and piercing voice uttered, "Come as you are, my love." My breathing deepened the moment I knew where you were, for in the center of my soul I found your electrifying open arms. I hear the thunder in your heart beating loudly for me now, as I come to you in my fullness, desiring your sacred kisses upon my lips. I see your fiery eyes thrusting into my naked soul, and I feel your unyielding touch against my soft and bliss-filled body. You are deep inside my head and heart, having penetrated the threshold of my gate. As you caress the swollen petals at my well, I surrender fully, for I cannot do anything else.
And that's just what we were talking about. That's a beautiful way to end this beautiful, beautiful conversation. I feel so blessed that you've been here on with me and spent an hour with me just chatting. It's gone so quick.
I know it did. Thank you for inviting me. Fun.
Oh, it has been fun, and I would love to have you on again. This is amazing. And Sianna, please, everybody, if you do you offer one-to-one sessions or anything like that, Sianna?
I do, and they can contact me through a messenger.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So anybody that feels this amazing energy as I do, and would love to be instantly healed, I'm sure. I'm really selling you now, right? No, but being serious, Sianna's a beautiful soul, and her energy is very, very strong. So if you would like a session with her, then contact her on Messenger. And please share this video if it resonates with you, so that we can get our energy out there, our beautiful light shining Sianna and our love. And thank you, everybody, for seeing this now and on the replay. We love you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.